Okay, welcome everybody. Today we're going to renew the central heating pump. Not for the faint-hearted. I'm a plumber, so it's not too bad for me, but if you fancy tackling this, just follow this video through and I'm sure that the layman could do this job. Here's our new pump in the box, and we get him out. And our particular pump, as yours will probably be, will be in an awkward place, and mine is under there. A lot of pumps are stacked away in cupboards, the back and beyond, which always makes them a very awkward job. So I'll just show you now how we're going to do this weird little job. It's not too bad. Okay, here's our little beauty down here. First thing to do, most pumps do have a valve either side. And if you look, you'll see this one has got the same. It's got the screw valve there and a screw valve just behind this pipe here. So there's one either side of this pump. So first thing we're going to do is isolate these before we try to take the pump off. And also then we're going to disconnect the wiring also. Probably I usually do the wiring first, but it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to take the wires off first. I'll show you this piece. Okay, on the front of the pump we have the screw here, which we're going to remove. That reveals the cover and all the laundry in there. Okay, now before we touch any of these wires, they're obviously got to be turned off. Make sure that your supply is off to the main central heating. All controls are off. You can even turn off the main power supply, the switch in the cupboard if you'd rather. I often check them with an electric screwdriver. A lot of people say you shouldn't use these, we should use a test meter, but I still like them. I've never got a shock off them. You just put your finger on the hand and put it on the terminal, and if it doesn't read, which that one doesn't, it's quite safe, it's off. But obviously do make sure the supply is completely turned off before you tackle it. Okay. Okay, I've got a little torch in here for a bit of extra light so you can see what's going on. Okay, I've disconnected the three input cables that go onto the pump there, and we're just going to pull that out of there now, and that's our wiring out of the way. Next piece, as I say, we'll get these valves off, and I'll show you how we've got to sort of take these off. It's not as conventional as you might think. So we'll get the valves off. Okay, if these valves are jammed at all, they won't go right off when you turn them. Then I'm afraid you are stuck with draining the whole system down, which can be a bloody nuisance, but does sometimes happen. I'm just going to see how I get on. Mine are a bit stiff, so I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver to get those off. Okay, I've managed to get mine off now, and I'll show you. If I zoom in, you'll see the screw is in the upright position, which is where it should be. Let's just get him in there. I'll just zoom you in a bit so you can see. If you look at the union there, now you can see that union is in the upright position. Okay, it's starting to weep a bit, which isn't a very good sign. Sometimes it means the union might need replacing if they start leaking, which still means you have to drain it down. But nevertheless, I'm going to take it off and show you this way to change it over. So the next thing is to get this nut loose. Now, it's no point, these nuts, trying to undo them with a spanner. Just putting a spanner on and hoping it'll undo. It's very unlikely, because they're usually seized on with the heat. The heat makes them stick, and they need a shock to undo them. So it's never just a case of putting a spanner on there and hoping that that's going to do it, because it won't. The only way is going to be with what I use, and a lot of people will, woo, a hammer and chisel. Okay, sounds mad, but the shock will undo the nut. So that's what I'm going to show you next. So here we have our trusty hammer and chisel, and basically we put this on the nut and get the pump to clout, and we shake this thing open, because I guarantee you the only way you undo these nuts is by giving them a clout. this nut goes up that way, so we've got to clout it back that way. And tap. Bash. That. Bang. See if she's come loose yet. Right, there you go. Now loose that to become. By giving that a simple tap, you can now see that that union is loose. It can be undone easily. That's just one of my little tricks. It sounds mad hitting a thing with a hammer and chisel, and it does score the out of the nut, but it doesn't matter. You won't break that nut. Just give it the knock and it will come out. And it is the easiest way I've found over the last 40 odd years of renewing the pump by getting these unions out. The easiest possible way is to give them a knock. So okay, we'll get the other one off and then we'll take it out. Okay, we're at the point where the pump nuts are loose now. I resorted to a slightly sharper, smaller chisel to knock that nut round. It went fairly easily in the end. A few knocks and it's gone round. So we've got both nuts loose now. There'll be a bit of water in here. This is unavoidable. It's what's landing the pump, and you're going to get it whatever you do. So there's not much you can do about it unless you can get something under there. You're going to get a bit of dead water like that coming out of there now. I know sometimes the valves let by a bit, and you'll also get water from there. So make sure your valves are fully off when you do it. Give them a double check. Make sure. And now you can see it's stopped running. So probably wasn't quite right off that one, but as you can see now, it's right off. So we'll just connect the pump now. Take it off. Goes on the side, and comes the other. And there we have him. There's our pump. Take a note of what direction he's pumping in. As you can see, the arrow is pointing in that direction, and that's the way it's got to be refitted. So there's our pump out. This pump doesn't look too old or bad, but it's actually running very slow, and it means that in this particular system that the boiler keeps cutting out because the heat can't get away from the boiler fast enough. So therefore the boiler keeps cutting off indiscriminately. It's a surefire sign really that the pump is on its way out. Okay, we'll prepare the new one now. As you can see, there'll be some old washers on here. There's one of them there. Take those off. There's one. And the other one's stuck on the end of the pump. As you can see, it's still there. Look. There's the old one. We want that. And we're ready now to get the pump out and fit the new one. Okay, so we're getting ready to fit our new pump now, and this is it. A brand new DAB pump. I usually fit Grundfos, to be honest, but didn't have one in stock at the time and I had to wait a couple of days, so I decided I'll try this DAB pump out. It's got a 2-year guarantee, so we'll give it a go. Now, I personally prefer to wire up before installation, because it's always harder when it's installed, I find, to get it wired up. So I generally tend to wire it up first. Let's get the lid off. There we go. Get that off. That screw out. Take the top off. Well made on. There we are. They're a bit sticky, but they do eventually come off. And that will reveal the connections. Most pumps these days are this type of arrangement where you pull the lever back and insert the wire. See that? Pull the lever back, push the wire. Used to be a time, used to be screws, and you screwed it down, which I did prefer, to be honest, but modern times, things change. Also on the side you'll have this side grommet for the wire, which consists of this part, a nut and a thread, okay, and a pulley cone. So basically we slide excuse me, the nut over, followed by our inserted piece. The wires go through there. They're always a bit tight for these grommets. Let's push them through, make them up as a knot. Oh, mind you, this one wants opening up a bit. It's a bit, as you can see, the hole there is a bit tight for that to go through, so I'm going to open it up a bit, a screwdriver. Here we have our grommet over the wire now. That's how it should look when you see it, like that, with the wire through. That's your earth, live and neutral. Now we've literally just got to insert them in the right sockets here. You can see that that one is the earth, that one's got the end for neutral, and that one's the end for live. So we literally just ping them back and push them in. It's not too bad a job. That's why I prefer to do it out rather than in its situation, unless it is not too bad to do in situ, but in this case it would be a right devil in there, because it's the location, and it's just not a very good location. Okay, make sure it's got a good grip on the wire, which it has. Do each one in separately, give it a little tug, make sure it's right in the connection. The neutral one in. Okay, give it a tug. We know that one's in. There's a couple of little furry bits sticking out there, I don't like that, so we'll give the wire a twist and put it in again. Wind it back and put it in. That's much better. Okay, she's in. So there's no loose hairy bits. No wiry bits sticking out of the touch. Okay, and then our live wire. That one's flaring out, so let's give him a twist. A twist. And pull him back. And stick him in the connection. As I say, a few years ago, this would have been nice screw down connections, a nice terminal block, nice and easy, but now we've got these fiddly bloody things that the manufacturers think we now need, which are a pain in the neck, to be honest. But anyway, there we are, they're all in. Okay, so now we're ready. That now slides in its little socket there. Okay, push that back in, push the wires down in situ. Okay, and we should be ready to put our cover on. Okay, that's how it should look before the cover goes on. Okay, so then we'll get our cover and put it on. Screw them back up, and at least it's wide, ready when it does go back on those unions. It's ready for go. Put him back down. Okay, and it's ready now to go into the slot. So I'll show you what we do next. Now the hardest part now, if you like. This is the part where we fit the pump back in. Make sure we've got the right direction on the arrow, same as the one you took out. Don't have it reverse pumping, it will never work. Okay, we've got to get this washer on. I tend to pull this nut forward and slide the washer on there with the nut holding that ring on. So we'll get him like that, the washer in. The nut is holding the washer. It won't drop out, hopefully. That nut on here, it's dropped out. Just to show you how awkward it is. But this is the worst part, believe me. After this, it's not so bad. Let's get that on. Right, that's it. Now washer's now sat inside that union there, so that we're going to get that nut on first. Just concentrate on one at a time, don't try and get them both. Okay, push it over, offer it up to the union, the torch, we'll put him there, and we'll offer him up to that nut, pull him round, started. This one's a bit awkward because I've got a pipe right there in the way. You'll find no matter where you do a central heat pump, they never seem to be in an easy position. Right, we'll keep on until we get them started. Just got to get them lined up perfectly, otherwise it won't go until it is. Keep twisting. Okay, starting to think about it. Let's have a look at it. Now, washer's in place. It should be going. Hang on, it's just that I can't get my wrist quite the right angle, being a right-handed person. I'm sure she'll go in a minute. Feels like I might have him now. Yep, I feel the threads going up now. So there we are, we've got our first one on. Leave it loose while we get the second one. We've got it started. It's fiddly as hell, believe me, getting it started. But I've had this pipe in the way, so I had an extra excuse. Being right-handed is a bit tough getting that nut done. Well, it would have been even worse if I'd been left-handed, get about it. So probably had the best deal there. Okay, you see it's left as a gap here to get this washer in for the second one. We'll get him in there. And slide the washer in there. Pretty easy on the second one because the weight's been taken off by the right one there, so not too bad. Okay, we have it nipped here, so now it's just a matter of tightening these nuts up, and we're almost there. Okay, give them a little nip, spanner. The awkward one over here, one's out the way. There we go. That's it. Okay, and we're almost ready. Okay, good people, so we're at the next stage now. I have the pump connected now. Some kind-hearted soul, if I find him, obviously put that union behind this pipe, which is nice and handy for me to turn on. It's virtually an impossibility to try and get an angle like that to get it on. Bad plumbing as usual, you know, you find it everywhere. Amateurs at work, you know, but there we are. Even professionals do a bodge sometimes, and that is typically one that's covered the union. Now I've turned it on, and as you can see, there is a leak from this union here since I've turned it, which probably means now that I'm going to have to still drain this system and renew this union because it's leaking. But I'll do that as a later job and show you how to do that one. It's not too bad, but this is another thing that could happen when you're a plumber. You turn a valve, and when you turn it back on, what you get, it leaks. You try not to drain the system because it's a lot of bother emptying it all out, and still you get this trouble, which is why plumbers do have to charge, I'm afraid, quite a bit of money for their services, because this is the sort of thing that happens to you. You think you're going to be there an hour, and then you end up draining the system off, renewing these unions, going to get the parts, and end up being there for 4 or 5 hours. So it's just one of the things that can happen, but that's just to show you. Now, one of the last things to do, assuming you didn't have a leak like I've got, is just to vent the top of the pump, because you've put a new pump in. There's a little screw on the top which allows you to get the air out. You just unscrew that and bleed it, let the air out. There's any air in the pump, let's get it out of there. A lot of people do it with the pump on when it comes out as well, then just to let it out. Just let that air out there, and then screw it back down. Okay, and basically that's your job finished. Not for me, I hasten to add, because of this nasty little piece of work there that's now got to be drained off and a new union bought and renewed. There you go, that's one of those things. I think what I'll probably do while I'm at it is reroute this pipe clear of that union, so the next time some poor devil gets his job, at least you won't have the trouble getting that valve off. So basically that's it, folks. I hope it's been of some help to you, and I'll see you next time.